Hello everyone, welcome to the session. So in today's session, we will learn about the logical replication in PostgreSQL. So what is logical replication? So logical replication is nothing but it is a way to copy the DML changes like insert, update and delete from one database server to another using a publisher and subscriber setup. So the best part is we can replicate only the selected tables instead of the entire database. We know we have another method of replication that is called streaming replication or physical replication. So through that method we can replicate the entire database. So it's called physical or streaming replication. But in case of logical replication, we have a facility to replicate only the selected tables. And this logical replication is widely used for migration, reporting, and keeping system in sync with minimal downtime. So let's discuss more about the logical replication and how to set up this. As you can see in the note, I'll be replicating the tables from prod 1 to prod 2 servers. So this is the name I'm just using for the practice, but you can keep it some other name as well. So I just replicated it so that it will be easy to remember. So I have named it prod 1 and prod 2. So what are the main component of the logical replication? So there are four main components. One is publisher, publication, subscriber and subscription. So let's understand what is publisher. So publisher is nothing but the source database from where it publishes the changes. And what is publication? The publication is nothing but set of tables which is getting replicated from the source database. That is called the publication. And in this publication, there can be multiple table which will be part of the publication. Next is the subscriber. So what is subscriber? Subscriber is nothing but the target database that receives changes. And subscription is connect subscriber to publisher and apply changes on the target tables. So what are the prerequisites to set up the logical replication? So first prerequisite is the database should be running on more than 10, version 10, and the server and network connectivity should be established between prod 2 and prod 1. So this is the first requirement. So when we do the practical at that time, I will show you how to do the network connectivity between prod 1 and prod 2. So let's see how to configure logical replication step by step. So first of all, we have to configure the prod 1 server. So on the prod 1 server, we have to configure one parameter that is called wall underscore label, and it must be set to logical. So it says that this is the logical replication, and we know that in case of streaming replication, what is wall underscore label is set to replica. So this is the difference, and this parameter tells the subscriber that this is the logical replication. Here is another parameter we need to set, max underscore replication underscore slots. So I have set it 10. Actually, it must be just more than one. Since I uncommented the parameter in the PostgreSQL.conf, by default it has written as 10, but it can be more than one. So we can keep it 2 as well. Here is the case for max underscore wall underscore sender as well. So not 2, let's keep it 10. And for the max underscore wall underscore sender, let's keep it 3 as well. And after making these changes, we just need to reload the configuration file. Select pg underscore reload underscore conf. So it will apply these changes to the postgresql.conf and it will be enabled there. And what is the next step? So in the next step, we have to create a replication user. So this user will connect to the database and it will copy the changes from prod 1 to prod 2. So for this, we have created one user that is called the rep underscore user, and we have given a special privilege that is called the replication. I have granted the permission to this user to connect to the database appdb and granted select role, select permission on all the tables to this user on this database. On the next step, we have to configure the pg underscore hba.conf file. So in that, we have to make entry for replication user. So at the time of practical, I'll show you this, and after applying the changes, we have to again reload the configuration file so that these are applied. So for that, we have to reload the configuration using select and pg underscore reload underscore conf command. And in the next step, we have to create the publication on prod1 server. So this is the simple command, create publication pub underscore appdb. So here, this is not the standard, but I have just kept it to understand, means it should be looks like more realistic that why we are creating this and what is the purpose of this. So from this we can understand that this is the publication and this is created on appdb database. So I have just named it like that. And what tables will be part of this publication? So here are four tables under this schema e-commerce underscore app. There are customers, product, orders, order items, and payments. So these five tables will be part of that publication. So here we can see, means we can have multiple table in that particular schema, but we have not selected all the tables. We just selected these five tables to replicate from prod 1 to prod 2. So here we can have, means we can be selective. So this is the benefit of logical replication. And from this command, after creating the publication, we can also verify if the publication is created successfully and what are the tables of part of that publication. So these are two commands we can use. And what we have to make sure, whatever table will be replicated, they must have primary key on those tables. If there is no primary key or unique key, then there will be issue in replication and it will not replicate the data. So before creating the publication, we have to make sure these tables have primary keys. And on the next step, we have to prepare the target server. So on the target server, let's say prod 2, what we have to do, we have to make sure that the schema, same schema exists, means the schema and the table structure all should be same on the target side as well. If it is already created, it's fine, and if it is not, then we have to make the same structure on the target side as well. We just have to create the structure, not to insert the data, because data will be inserted through the logical replication. And in the next step, what we'll do, we will create the subscription. So this is the command, create subscription sub underscore db. So you can see here, I have just named it sub underscore app db so that it is more understood that this is the subscription and it is created on the app db connection. This is the name. Under the connection parameter, we have some other parameters as well, sub parameters. Host name, this tells which is the primary database, primary server. So here this is the ip of the prod 1 from where replication will be running, and this is the port of that primary server. db name, from which database the tables will be replicated and which user will be part of that replication. And password, we need to supply the password as well, and we have to mention the publication. So this tells, means which tables will be replicating. So what it will do, it will copy the initial data and it will begin the replication. So the moment you create the replication, it will start copying the initial data and it will begin the replication. So we can check the replication through different commands. So we have select star from pg underscore subscription, select star from pg underscore stat underscore subscription. So this command we can run on prod 2 to check the status of the replication, and on the prod 1 Also we can check the status of the replication using this command pg underscore state underscore replication, and this is the command to identify the lag if there is any lag in the logical replication. So this command tells that. So what is actually replicated? Insert, update and delete. So in the very first step I told you that this is nothing but this applies the DML changes only. And on in that DML changes, what are the commands? Insert, update and delete. So these things will be replicated. And if you want to add more table, so we have the facility to add more tables after the publication is created. So or we can alter the publication using this command alter publication pub underscore appdb app add table and table name. So once we run this command, the table name whatever we mention here, it will be added to the publication. And after that we need to just refresh the publication on prod 2. So it will start replicating the newly added table. And we can remove the subscription using a simple command after if we want to remove the subscription. So this is the simple command, we can run it on the subscription side, on the prod2 side, drop subscription name, so it will drop the subscription. And if we want to drop the publication, so we can also do so by using a simple command drop publication pub underscore appdb. So this is the publication name we have created, so we can drop using this command. So let's see more in the practical. So let's see in the practical how to set up the logical replication. So I'll show you what we will be doing here. So I have connected to the prod1 server, and from here I'll be replicating the tables. So let's see the structure, how this is created and how it looks like. So first of all, I'll connect to the database. I'm into PSQL appdb and here slash tn. So we can see that this is the schema. So let me set this is schema set. We can see here. So there are 5 tables I'll be replicating, but we see there are multiple tables are part of this schema 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So we have the facility to we have the option to select the tables to replicate. So as per the requirement we can replicate the table. So in today's session we'll replicate just 5 tables: customers, inventory, or whatever tables you want. But we'll replicate customers, inventory, order items, order and payments. So let's replicate these tables. So let's set up the logical replication for these tables. So what is the first step? The first step, we have to prepare the primary server. So let's see the so on the primary server there are 3 parameters we have to set up. First is wall underscore label, it should be logical, and the second is max underscore wall underscore sender, and it should be set up to more than one. And the next one is max underscore replication underscore slot, so it should be also more than one. So let's set it up. So let's first see how it looks like now. So underscore wall underscore label, so it is set to replica right now. So underscore max underscore wall underscore sender. So how much it is set up? So it is set it up by default setup is 10. So we can keep it like that. There is no issue. And what is the value for that max underscore replication slot? Max underscore replication underscore slot. So we can see it is also set to 10. So These two are already set, so no need to worry about that. We just have to set up the wall underscore label to logical. So let's set it up. Just go to data directory, leave PostgreSQL data, and this is the location of the configuration file where we'll find the postgresql.conf. We'll open it up, conf, search for the parameter wall underscore label. So we can see it is set to minimal. So what we'll do, first of all, we'll uncomment it, and after that we'll set it up logical. Logical. Here is the parameter value. We can see it takes minimal, replica, and logical. So replica is needed for the streaming replication. So at that time of streaming replication, we set this value wall underscore label is equal to replica. But now we are doing the logical replication, so we are setting it up to logical. And now let's search for another parameter, max underscore wall underscore sender. So you see it is commented out here. So we'll just uncommented it, but by default it takes the value 10. But we'll uncomment it so that it is more understood. I'll set this value to 10, from 10 to 3, and the next is max replication slot. So for this also I'll set to 3 and I'll uncomment it. Now we have to save this file and start the cluster. Stop and start the cluster to apply the changes to the clusters. So pg underscore ctl fundy where lib pgsql data. So this is the data directory. I am just going to stop it. So we can see the cluster is stopped. Now I'll start it again so that these values are applied to the cluster. So now just let's verify. So wall underscore label, we can see here it is set to logical now. So max underscore wall underscore sender, we can see here it is set to 3 now. And what is another, max underscore replication underscore slot, max underscore replication underscore slots. So it is also set to 10. So the first step is done. So what is the next step? We have to create the user. So let's create one replication user. So I'll be creating the rep underscore user for this purpose. The command is create user rep underscore user with a special privilege that is called replication login. Mean this user is allowed to log into the database and will supply the password. I created the user and we need to grant this user connect on the AppDB database. So let me grant that, and after that we need to grant this user a read-only permission on the tables. So for this we have to grant pg underscore read underscore all data to rep underscore user. So let me grant this as well. Okay. So these two permissions I have granted to this user rep underscore user. So on the next step, we have to set up the pg underscore hba dot conf file. So let's do that. Let's open the pg underscore hba dot conf file. Come out of this ls-ltr. So this is the under the data directory. We can find the pg underscore hba dot conf file. So we need to open this file in the vi mode, pg underscore hba dot conf, and under this file we can see these are the sections. So here in this IPv4 local connection, we have to allow this rep underscore user. So let me make this change. I'll copy the first line and I'll paste it here. So I just to make one change, I need to edit the user rep underscore user. Okay. So this is the IP of the prod 2. So no need to make any changes on the IP. So it will be host appdb. This is the database name. This is the replication user. So it will be allowed to connect. And this is another. This is the IP of the prod 2. The next is we need to add another line in the replication section. So here I'll copy this line. Rep underscore users. Rep underscore users. Changes are done. So after this, we need to restart the cluster again to apply these changes to the cluster. So let's do that. Pg underscore ctl hyphen d where lib pgsql data stop. Let's start it again. So changes are applied. Now in the next step, what we have to do? We have to create the publication on prod 1, means on the primary server. Let's create the publication. So for that, let's select the tables which will be replicating is equal appdb slash dn set search underscore path equal to. Okay, now slash dt. So we can see here these are table customer, inventory, order item, order, payment, product and shipment. So since logical replication gives us facility to replicate the selected table, we'll do that. Though we can replicate all the tables, but we'll replicate the selected only. So for this session, we'll replicate the customer table, product table, orders table, order items table, and payment tables. So let's create a publication for the same. One moment. What is the database name? AppDB. Now let me create the publication for these five tables. Oh, it is saying publication already exists. So let me create some publication with some another name, or let me drop it. Drop publication pub underscore fdb. Publication dropped. So now let's create. We can see publication is created. So we can verify that as well if the publication is created and what are the tables that are part of that publication using a simple command. So this is the command, and we have another command as well to verify this using the select command. We can see this. So let's run that command as well. So it will give little bit more detail. Okay, so since publication is created, and what is next? Next we have to prepare the target server. So on the target servers, we have to make sure the schema and tables are created there, and the table should be empty. If it is not empty, then empty means it should have zero records because we will be replicating the data from prod 1. So let's check that. So here I am connected to prod 2. So now I will connect to the database appdb, and here let's verify if the schema exists. Same schema slash dn, we can see, and the schema exists on the target database e-commerce underscore app. Now let's see what are the tables that are created on that schema set. Search underscore path equal to e-commerce underscore app. We just set this so that we can see what are the tables slash dt. Oh, so we can see these tables are already created there: customers, inventory, order items, orders, products, and payment, product, and shipment. So these tables already created. So let's see, count on these tables. Select count star from customers. It has zero count. On the next table, inventory, it has also zero count. So we have to make sure all the tables have zero count so that it can replicate the data from the prod 1 server. Otherwise there will be duplicate record issue we can face. So I'm just validating that. Order, sorry, some error here, from orders. It has also zero record. Payments, it has also zero records. Now let's see the products. It has also zero record. And what is the last table? It's shipment. So on the shipment table, there is also zero record. Means all the tables are good to replicate the data from primary server. So let's create the subscription on the prod 2 side, means on the target side. So I'll be creating a subscription. Let's Run the subscription command. And this is the subscription command. Create subscription sub underscore fdb. This is the subscription name I'm going to create, and under the connect section we can supply the primary server, its port, its database name, and the user which will be used for the replication, password, and the publication name. So we can see here subscription is created, and what is also displays, it says that replication slot sub underscore fdb on the publisher is also created. So we can validate that as well when we go to the primary server. So let's go to primary server and validate that if the replication slot is created or not. So on the prod one, let's verify it's if the replication slot is created. So we have one data dictionary pg underscore replication is slot. So we'll run that. Select start from pg underscore replication underscore slots. So we can see one slot is created sub underscore fdb, and slot type is logical. So it says that it's a logical replication. Since we have already created the subscription, so what it will do, it will copy the initial data and it will start the replication. So now we can check if it is copying the data or not. So we have a data dictionary called pg underscore subscription. From that we can check that as well. So let's run that command, pg underscore subscription. So it is running. The next is also we can check the status pg underscore stats underscore subscription. So we can run that command to as well to verify the status of the subscription. Okay, so we can see that worker is applying, and let's check the lag on the of the logical replication. So to checking the lag, we have to run a query on the primary server, means on the prod one. So I'm going to check the lag. So I'm running one command on the primary. So we can see here there is no lag currently. MB difference means all the tables are getting replicated correctly. So we can verify that as well in the subscription, and let's see count on the tables if the data is getting applied or not on the prod 2 side. So let's validate there as well. Let's validate if the count is increasing or not. Oh, I see it is 0. So let's see what is the issue. So let's check what are the tables are part of that replication. So let's check that using the command. I have that. Let me run that. Okay, so here we can see customer, order item, orders, payment, and product. So these are the part of the publication. So we'll check the status and count of these tables on the target side. So the table count which I am showing here, uh, this inventory table is not part of that replication. So this is not replicating. But what are the other tables which is part of that replication? I'll run that, check the status. So first one is the customer. So let me check. We can see it has 4 record, so which has been replicated from the primary, and in the another table which is part of the publication, that is product. So I'll check the status for that as well, the count on that table. So we can see here It has also 5 records. The next table which is part of the publication is order. So let's check the count on the order table as well. So we can see here it has also 3 records. The next is the order score items. So let's check the count on the order score items as well. So it has also 6 records. And the next table which is part of the publication is payment. So let's check the count on the payments table as well. So we can see here we have 3 records. So means all these 5 tables which are part of the publication are replicating. So all these tables have records. So what we can do now, since we can see here this inventory table is not part of the publication, so it is not replicating. So we have a facility in the logical replication to add more tables after the sub publication is created. So let's add this table, inventory table, also to the publication. So let's do that. So to add the table, we have to add one command. We have to run one command. So let's run that add command on the publication. We have to alter the publication by running the command alter publication and the publication name add and the table name. So I'll run that alter publication pub underscore appdb. This is the publication where I'm going to add the table add, and which table it is, e-commerce dot e-commerce underscore app dot inventory. What it is saying, invalid publication object list alter publication appdb and e-commerce inventory. One of the table or tables in the must be specified before standalone schema or table name. So let's see what is this error. Looks like I forgot to add the table keyword here. So let me add the table keyword here, add table, and after that let me run the command again. You see this table is added to the publication. So let's verify if this inventory table is added to the publication or not using the query. We can see inventory table is part of the publication now. Customers, inventory, order items, orders, payment and product. Earlier there were 5 tables and now we can see in the publication there are 6 tables. So on the since we added here it on the publication, but it cannot start replicating immediately. So what we have to do on the subscription side, we have to refresh the subscription. So let's go to the prod to server or target server and refresh the subscription. So let's refresh this on the subscription side. I'm into the prod to server. I'm going to run that refresh command. I have refreshed it. Now let's see the count on the inventory table. So I already ran it earlier, so I'll just copy that. So earlier it was showing 0 record. Now let's see how much record it is showing now. We can see it is showing 5 record, means the data is replicating from primary to the subscription now. So this is how we can set up the logical replication. Now we can let's see how to drop the subscription and publication. So those are the simple commands. If we want to drop the subscription, though, then we have to run a simple command, drop subscription subscription name. So let's run that. No, I will not run that because it will break my replication. So but as let me show you in my note what are the commands. So you can see in the notes, to drop the subscription, or to remove the subscription, we have to simply run this command, drop subscription and subscription name. And if we want to drop the publication, then we need to run this command, drop publication publication name. So when we drop the subscription, at that time it will also drop the replication slot it has created while creating the subscription. So if you see that notice or that information, so don't be surprised and don't worry about that. So hope you like the logical replication session. So we'll discuss more on this. So this is just for today. Thank you so much. If you have not liked or subscribed my channel, please do so. Thank you so much.